Good Friday, everyone. This is GardenStateWeather.com, New Jersey, and the Northern Mid-Atlantic region's weather news portal. I'm forecaster Robert Smith with the in-depth forecast analysis video discussion for Friday, the last weekend of July. Friday, July 27, 2012, and what will your last weekend of July look like weather-wise? Well, certainly Thursday, yesterday, was not anything to laugh about in any way, or to sneeze about either, and temperatures, a lot of people were sneezing, however, because there are some certain allergies out there that are still causing us congestion and irritability, and I wonder which one of those pollens is doing the job this time around, because I certainly suffer from that as well. Yesterday, we all suffered in very hot, humid weather with temperatures that soared into the 90s, and then we had a weak frontal band. Actually, it wasn't a weak frontal band. It was a strong frontal band that developed a convective line of thunderstorms across Pennsylvania with lots of power outages throughout Pennsylvania yesterday afternoon. And that line slowly slunk and sunk south and east, curvy as it was. It was a very narrow line, and it came in to northwest Jersey here out of the Poconos at around 6 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock last evening, and made its way down through the coastal regions and then settled further south this morning. And yesterday we had quite a lot of wind damage because most of the winds that were reported were over 50 to 60 miles per hour in downbursts from the thunderstorms. There was quite a lot of lightning in those thunderstorms too. And we had in Kings County yesterday evening at 8:14, in Cobble Hill in New York, we had a lightning strike on a church scaffold that collapsed on a pedestrian, and we're so sorry to hear that that person has passed away. Yesterday morning, we had a cluster of thunderstorms race across southern New England, southern New York, and into Connecticut, and we saw one of the thunderstorms produced lightning that struck a house in Morris County, New Jersey. This morning, it's a soupy morning out there. Dew points and relative humidities. We have some fog. We have a lot of haze. And temperatures are generally running uniform in the 70s across the New Jersey, New York City, and northern Delmarva region. And temperatures this morning in New York City at Central Park, 75 degrees, and 75 in Philadelphia, too. And we've only got some convection here out on the Cape with some thunderstorm activity and heavy rain here out on Massachusetts and Cape Cod. And that's moving into the ocean. Everything has pretty much settled down. It's just a soupy, saturated atmosphere this afternoon, and we'll find a general chance of thunderstorms throughout our entire metropolitan area, but nothing is extremely organized as we saw yesterday. But the heating of the day and the clouds giving way to sunshine will mean that temperatures are once again going to soar into the 80s to around 90 degrees in many locations, especially where cloud cover breaks away free and clean earlier. And as a result of that, thunderstorms will be generalized in the area, and any of the thunderstorms will produce strong gusty winds, heavy downpours, frequent lightning, and even possibly some small hail. Start things out with a water vapor satellite loop this morning across the eastern United States, and you can see we have a couple of diffuse frontal bands here, or frontal systems here, and basically the air aloft, if we put on the high density winds, and these are the winds at the upper top of the troposphere here, we can see that these cold fronts aren't moving that far south because the winds aloft are parallel to the fronts, and that's the reason why everything's moving so slowly. Now, yesterday afternoon, we had a frontal band that passed through with thunderstorms that has now become a diffuse trough across the Carolinas and offshore southern New England. A weaker thermal trough also developing here with a couple of short waves along it across the west of the Delmarva region into Virginia and Maryland here. And basically high pressure is still in control of our weather, and a weak frontal band, the one that contains possibly some more thunderstorm activity, is our frontal band that will be our nuisance in the weather because of these disturbances here in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. We see several of them with the brightening of the blue clouds here on the water vapor imagery. And our real change in the air mass is where temperatures are much cooler and drier, and this would be over Canada and into southern and into the St. Lawrence River Valley. This cold front here is the main cold front that would dry out the atmosphere as this upper level trough begins to dig south out of Canada across the eastern United States. And this is going to be a slow progress, folks. Probably won't happen until later Sunday or even Monday as this whole upper trough pushes all of this energy further to the south and east off the coast. So we're going to be dealing with the chances of showers and thunderstorms, especially during the afternoon and evening hours. And any of those showers and thunderstorms are going to contain strong gusty winds, frequent lightning, heavy downpours, and the possibility of small hail as well. And coming in, there's some surfers out there this morning getting an early start on the morning. And it's a pretty soupy atmosphere here. And it looks kind of dismal along the beaches, and that hot and humid air is going to rise up and sun is going to break through. It's going to be a hazy, hot, and humid day, and the threat of rip currents today is also quite high. Here's an example of the satellite sounding from the GOES satellite here over New York City, or just to around the New York City metropolitan area this morning, and you can see the winds all out of the southwest, and they're still quite gusty at roughly 850 millibars, 950 millibars actually, about a couple thousand feet up in the atmosphere, 40 knots, and they're all out of the southwest up to 110 knots as we get down through about the 300 millibar level. So the southwest winds here are going to mean that we're going to be in a soupy air mass all the way up the column of the atmosphere for today. We're not expecting much change, and we can see here we have negative CAPE in the mid and lower layers of the atmosphere, so the atmosphere is pretty stable here, but it's very soupy. As we can see, the temperature dew point spreads here are not that far, and then the atmosphere becomes really saturated as we get up into the mid levels from about 10,000 feet all the way up to the upper top here at 300 millibars, and it's just going to be a soupy day. And this area, as the sun breaks out, this area of small CAPE here in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere will be capable of inducing showers and thunderstorms as the negative CAPE becomes positive CAPE in the mid and lower layers of the atmosphere during this afternoon. Now, right now, precipitable water values are running about 1 inch to 2 inches in spots, and the atmosphere still has a negative lifted index here even this morning, so it's not going to take much to lift the air to get some of these strong storms in and around the area. Here's the precipitable water graphic of water vapor that's in the atmosphere this morning, along with some of the boundaries of rain here. Some of this is echoes, but this is real rain here on the Cape. And this comes from the Storm Prediction Center's mesoscale analysis page. We can see that the lower Hudson Valley, parts of Connecticut, New York, all of Long Island, northern New Jersey, and basically a good chunk of Pennsylvania down through central southern New Jersey and the northern Delmarva are running between 1.5 to 2 inches of equivalent of precipitable water that could be tapped in for any of these showers and thunderstorms to produce locally heavy downpours and even some flash flooding across the region at any time during this afternoon and this evening. And the NAMWRF cloud and precipitation composite forecast going forward from the Penn State eWall site. See a lot of low clouds around this morning, and here comes a few short waves as the heating of the day. Now, there is a variable difference between the MOS guidance from the GFS and somewhat the MOS guidance for the NAM, because the NAM is forecasting higher temperatures in many locations. So we're going to go and use a blend of both, which seems reasonable. Temperatures upper 80s and lower 90s across the area. And wherever there's cloud cover and thunderstorms, obviously that's going to affect the ambient temperature of the air outside in terms of the real temperature, but not the real feel. It's going to be a soupy day nonetheless. And as the day progresses with hazy sunshine, scattered showers will develop during this afternoon. And we'll first see them probably develop across the thermal trough that lies across the Delmarva region of Maryland and Virginia along that thermal trough line, and a few segments also developing again across northwestern Pennsylvania. And some of these showers and thunderstorms will make it into southwestern New Jersey, the Philadelphia area, and then off Cape May. And some of the interior thunderstorms across southeastern New York and central northern Pennsylvania will propagate to the east too. And any of these thunderstorms will contain very heavy rain, strong gusty winds, hail, and lightning in them. And these thunderstorms will probably not be as strong as yesterday's, but definitely they're going to be something to be concerned about and watchful about. Plenty of cloud cover in the general consensus here with all of this soupy air in place. And we'll show you on the 850 millibar chart how the winds don't really clear the area until the frontal system finally swings and upper trough finally swings to the south and east on Saturday night and Sunday morning. And then weak high pressure builds into the forecast region on Sunday. Better high pressure at the center with lots of sunshine and much drier air across the region on Monday. But even that will be short-lived into early next week as well. Start out the forecast maps here Weak flow. This is very weak summertime air across the region. In terms of steering winds, there's just not a lot of upper level winds that are favorable and dynamic enough to change the air temperature and the dew point structure of the mid and lower layers of the atmosphere over the next several days. So we're going to be dealing with weak frontal systems with disturbances, and I say weak only because they wash out. In other words, they're not dynamic enough to sink south with and clear or change the air mass around us or to the north or south of us. So they're weak frontal systems, but the disturbances along them and the soupy air mass itself is enough to produce headache showers and thunderstorms that produce flooding rain and hail and lightning and, of course, wind damage. We have one system off the Cape Cod area late this afternoon, another surface wave here developing across Pennsylvania. So any of these areas from the southern Delmarva into southwestern Pennsylvania, northern New Jersey, the New York City metropolitan area up into the lower Hudson Valley and Connecticut, any of those areas could receive showers and thunderstorms that could produce those features during this afternoon and evening as the wave of low pressure moves off the northern New Jersey coast south of Long Island. As we get through the day on Saturday morning, we find that the front is still nearly stalled out across the mid-Atlantic states here and offshore. And so there'll be some periods of showers to the north of that. And here comes a second wave of low pressure. Notice how the areas of weak high pressure here remain over Canada as the steering winds aloft are from the west and basically parallel to the upper level flow of the weather here. So that's why these fronts are not really making progressive strong impacts to change the atmosphere here. Now, as we get through the day on Saturday night, this is an area to watch for across the southern Appalachians and also the southern Delmarva region. And again, a thermal trough here across northern New Jersey into New York State and the Adirondack Mountains here. And this is going to mean showers and locally heavy downpours in this area with lightning strikes. It's something to be concerned about for tomorrow if you're going to be out tomorrow afternoon in this area of upstate New York, Connecticut, River Valley. Then as we get through the day on Sunday, the frontal system pushes far enough to the south and east. High pressure starts to begin to build in from southeastern Canada through the Ohio and Tennessee Valley. And the real change of that is that the dry air should produce mostly sunny skies across the northern mid-Atlantic area on Monday, but temperatures will still be mild in the mid-80s, right around where they should be, but the dew points are still going to be muggy too, so the air really isn't going to change that much in comfortableness. And as we get through the day on Tuesday, we still find this diffuse boundary here off the mid-Atlantic coast and southern mid-Atlantic coast here. And basically weak high pressure still in control of the weather across the eastern United States. Here comes another frontal band associated with that upper level low across Hudson's Bay, Canada, swinging another frontal system, a weak one at that, moving through southern Canada. And we have to get through the day on Wednesday before we find a thermal trough developing here. Notice how the front isn't progressing to the south and east. So weak high pressure in control, thermal troughs developing during the afternoon, muggy air, and temperatures in the mid-80s with a mix of sunshine and clouds and the chance of a shower or thunderstorm in locations where the greatest instability lies. And by the day on Wednesday and Thursday, we find another old frontal boundary here just stuck across the mid-Atlantic with a wave of low pressure developing somewhere near the Carolinas, and this could scoot off to the northeast, and this is something we talked about yesterday in some of the modeling. And it could produce more chances of showers and thunderstorms along it anywhere across the New Jersey, New York City, and Delmarva region. So do be careful out there this weekend. It's a hazy, hot finish, an uncomfortable, sticky finish to July 2012 as the last weekend is upon us now. Do be mindful of rip currents. They are real, and they have injured and killed a few people here along the New Jersey coast. The water temperatures are in the mid and upper 70s. In some locations are approaching or over 80 degrees, especially towards the Delmarva region from Cape May, New Jersey south. Do be mindful of showers and thunderstorms. Stay abreast of the latest situation throughout the weekend, as these storms do mean heavy downpours, lightning, small hail, and damaging gusty winds. That's going to wrap it up for this weekend, and we'll be back bright and early with you on Monday. For GardenStateWeather.com, I'm forecaster Robert Smith. Enjoy your weekend, and enjoy the rest of the day.